So, there is some interest in the lathe, apparently, and in the mess that I'm making. It's the result of taking care of a lathe, and of another lathe before that, and of a few other machines before that. You have seen me dance and jiggle my bum with a rag and some petrol, taking care of this mess on the front and the side. In the meanwhile, in the last like 10 days, I tried making this same exact video that I'm making right now, and yeah, I've had 5 attempts, wasted around 10 hours of editing, almost 5 hours of recording, and yeah, this is the 5th edition. The lathe, as you can see, is from Habeger, a Swiss company that started, if I recall well, around 1937. They are renowned for automatic lathes. As you can see, the plate identifies the lathe as type automatic F64, with 692 being the serial number. The 64 refers to the spindle bore diameter. I am unable to show it to you at the moment, given the automatic collet closing system. The ways are twin ways, or no ways at all really, given that ways by definition are a precision guided surface that allows for precise movement of componentry mounted upon them, but these ways are a precision fixturing surface, which I deem to be a good thing. As being a precision fixturing surface, they shouldn't have seen much wear, or any at all practically, since the day the lathe was officially released from the factory, likely around 60 years ago. The lathe came to me in this way. The left side is currently free of its attachment, and the lathe was transported in this manner. The right side carries the revolver and the analog programming and a few other bits. Everything is hydraulically operated. I'm sorry. Yeah, there are... Oh yeah, these are actually hydraulic little plugs. So yeah, the hoses are cut, the cables are cut. Quite a lot of things are missing from the lathe. Some accessories are missing. Thank God the coolant pipe is in place. I actually love the design. It's so robust and over-engineered just for a coolant pipe. But yeah, the threading attachment is removed, as you can see. It will have to be remounted on the ways after having been cleaned and inspected, taken apart, and blueprinted regarding the wear and possible missing pieces, possible damage. It is much heavier than it appears. I would judge it no heavier than 120 kilos, or at least I did so, and I was mistaken badly. I tried shifting it myself, given that I managed to take the large tailstock of my big lathe, which is around 80 kilos myself, and while it was no pleasant job, it was doable. But this thing literally cannot be moved by a single person. You can shift it a bit, you can try to tilt it, but other than that, nothing. You just risk bodily injury or damage to the parts. There are a lot of panels missing, as was obvious in the last video. The main control cabinet missing over here, or the control panel. This is the parts compartment. One of the few things manually actuated on the lathe. When it's full, you can just swivel it and dump the parts out in a larger bucket, continuing the cycle. This is one of the few panels that is actually remaining on the lathe, other than the finished parts compartment. It is a hydraulic valve regulation, used, as you can see by the plate, to operate the missing cross slides that are supposed to be mounted here. You cannot really see the lines here from where the part was, because it was likely mounted and butted up against this boxway configuration for the threading slide. This side gives you a better view of the missing accessory. These lines clearly indicate that a component was mounted here, as well as these T-nuts, two of which you can see. One is in here, and the missing one was used, as you can see, just with a bolt, to clean out these ways here, which are just as disgusting as this section here and these. The headstock, other than the collet closer and collet system, comes with this parting attachment. As you can see, it has a triangulation system for rigidity, but I do not like the idea. I'll be taking it off. I know that the Swiss weren't crazy when they designed it this way. However, I don't like the idea, as I said. I just don't like loads and forces being exerted onto the spindle housing, the headstock, other than the loads that normally occur during the turning, boring, and regular parting operations. As I said, there are missing panels. Both of the hydraulic cabinet panels are missing. This coolant compartment didn't even have a panel, I think. But I'll fabricate one that will latch around this lip and have a little swivel latch that will keep it securely mounted, just to close up the whole machine. This plate over here with its dial is another of the hydraulic valves. You will see it a bit later. The hydraulics pretty much run the whole lathe. As I said, it was an automatic hydraulic lathe, so the cams and solenoids control the whole system, be it stock insertion with the bar feeder, collet closing, revolver. Every single thing was hydraulically controlled, other than the parts cabinet that you can shift manually when it's full. This little swivel gate, sorry for the lack of light. I thought I would have more light, but I'm not delaying this video another day. The swivel gate is also hydraulically operated. The lathe knows at which part of the cycle she is at any given moment.
The missile knows where it is at all times. It knows this because it knows where it isn't. By subtracting where it is from where it isn't, or where it isn't from where it is, whichever is greater, it obtains a difference or deviation. The guidance subsystem uses deviations to generate corrective commands to drive the missile from a position where it is to a position where it isn't, and arriving at a position where it wasn't, it now is. Consequently, the position where it is now the position that it wasn't, and it follows that the position that it was is now the position that it isn't.
And as long as she's making chips and not in the finishing seconds of parting a finished part, the gate remains as it is. In the moment that it's right about to part the piece, the gate swivels via the hydraulics. You can see the levers behind it that connect it to a hydraulic cylinder behind, and the gate allows the finished part to be tossed into the parts tray, and the chips are fed into here. I'm also missing a meshed grate of this sort. I'm sorry, the autofocus seems to be going mad with a loss of light, but I think you'll see more than enough. I will retain the hydraulic blocks, this one with its solenoids, and these on the inside for my conversion. I'm sorry you literally cannot see shit. I will insert a bit of footage I've taken for the other attempts when I actually had full light, and I used the camera flash as additional source of light. But yeah, all the hydraulic blocks will be retained, I think mostly as a common rail system. The solenoids will still be deciding how much and where the oil flows. The electrical cabinet has its door in the panel, the lid, in the hydraulics compartment. I think you've seen it. It has the same orange paint on it. I am keeping it taken off as I need to refurbish this seal. It's not actually rust, it's just, I think, something like rotten cork gasket or cloth gasket, something of the kind. As you can see, the lathe has the mandatory monophase socket with a safety pin, so they'll have to be touched up, exchanged for a more modern variant, given that A few of the modern plugs actually tolerate the idea of the safety pin. This tan jacketed cable is the supply or the lead for the monophase. The largest power block is for the spindle motor, and these two are for coolant and hydraulics. The rest is just ancillary sensors and solenoids and whatnot. Oh yeah, I'm really losing light quite quickly. But I think I'll manage to say everything that I wanted to say. The lathe is 1,640 kilos in total, as you see here. Well, I have taken off this panel on the side as it was bent. I have no intention of replacing it. But yeah, other than that, she's a bit over a ton and a half. Yeah, I'll have to remake these panels, cast them in aluminum. Those are quite some large panels, so that'll be a fun experience. I'll have to take everything apart. You'll see another installment of me jiggling my butt with a mop and petrol and the brushes and whatnot, as the lathe is far from clean, as well as you can see. The revolver really has a ridiculously cool body. The casting is quite fancy. Quite a lovely iron body. The revolver is, as you can see, a through shaft design with plain bearings, I assume, given the oilers. But yeah, as said, or if I haven't said it, I don't know, I'll have to forgive me. I plan on converting the lathe from automatic cam operated system to a fully CNC controlled hydraulic system as she was previously, except for the fact that she'll pretty much lose the title of lathe, given that I intend on making, or better said, using this beautiful configuration of fixturing ways to make up a few other accessories like a grinding head and a milling head that will allow me to use her as a, well, more than just a 5-axis machining center, but yeah, you get the point. This configuration of ways allows me to not have to be overly concerned about grinding grit and whatnot, given that all the accessories can be built to suit the purpose, can be equipped with shielding and still function perfectly, just as a surface grinder does, and it doesn't really receive much damage from all the grit it creates, because it is well equipped to do such a job. That is pretty much what I intend with this little beauty. I do find her really beautiful. I am pretty much in love. I have been daydreaming and night dreaming given my messed up sleep schedule. And not that I sleep a lot, on the contrary, I do not sleep really much at all. I sleep for around 4 hours a night. The rest is just obsessing over machines, drafting different technical prints, designs, thinking of excuses which to give to myself as to why I'm not actually doing anything on the machines or with the machines. But on the other hand, I think you will appreciate that, as I have managed to collect 12 machines by now, most of which need a complete overhaul or maintenance of some sort. So there will be a lot of footage of different wacky machinery from the days of old. And yeah, you will see all of them. Behind this door is pretty much my primary shop. My stock room is in the basement. It contains the rest of, well, stock castings that have been picked up as stock sources or silly project pieces that will be applied at some point. But yeah, I'll not be rambling on for much longer, given that I do not want to bore you dead before I even finish getting this machine indoor, which will, I hope, happen within the following 2 months. I have quite a few projects related. And tangent to this, I cannot put the machine indoor at the moment because I have to move another machine out of the way where she is going to be, and that machine needs to have its floor print pretty much reinforced from beneath, from the basement, as she's sitting over a room. There's nothing supporting the floor beneath her, and she's the aforementioned automatic lathe that I have been playing with before this beauty arrived. So yeah, I will probably insert a few pictures of my machines if I find any of them to be adequate, so you can at least have a general idea of the menagerie that is yet to be shown. But yeah, I see that the footage is losing on quality drastically by the minute, so this is where I'll pretty much cut it off. As said, more to follow, and if you have any ideas, anything to say about this machine or any of my other machines, if you have any prior experience or know something of them, you're most welcome to share or to offer advice or whatever you want to offer, given that most of my machines are salvage puppies like this one that come with no manuals and are pretty much a rare find. So yeah, any additional information or expansion of my knowledge about the machines will be most welcome. And that's pretty much it. See ya in the next video. This is a mid-editing recording. You have heard me say that I will not delay the video for a single day, but I delayed it one more day. I realized during the editing that the video will probably need touch-ups. The sound is a bit choppy, but it's really nothing I can do about that. As I said, I had 5 attempts at filming the video, and each and every one of them pretty much resulted in me wasting 2 hours editing, sorting things over, and pretty much deciding that the end product isn't on par. Other than that, I have found a few decent pictures of my current machines. I'm quite surprised. I thought I was taking more pictures, but remarkably I haven't. This will also serve as a sound check of my main shop, as most of the footage that I will be making will be made in my main shop. I am not going to show you the main shop at the moment, as 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of my machines are completely under wraps, so you would just be looking at synthetic foil glaring the light back at you. But yeah, you will see my machines soon enough. You have seen my shop in these few pictures. It was a garage before I took hold of it. and moved the machines in. As you have noticed, it was just, you know, a regular white walls garage. When I put the Scherer lathe and the Schaublin and Emco mills in, since then I have vapor sealed the room. I have painted the walls over, which is pretty much why most of the machines are still under wraps. But yeah, I had to wrap the machines to prevent the oil-based paint from dripping onto them. And that is pretty much it. I just wanted to add in a few words. Well, state the obvious, that the sound is choppy. I don't really have an excuse for it. It's simply the way it is.